Welcome to the debate. Our focus today is on the dramatic reshaping of facilities management, the strategic oversight of physical assets, and it's all being driven by the rapid implementation of artificial intelligence. The transformation that's being promised is, well, it's monumental. We're talking about moving from scheduled maintenance to dynamic, predictive control, with potential savings that the material pegs in the 20 to 30% range for critical costs.
It's a huge shift, and the source material hands us a perfect conflict right at the highest level of strategy. We're presented with this very ambitious corporate strategy, specifically from a company called Ires Group, which insists on a fully integrated, independent, one-stop solution. And their approach is explicitly designed to eliminate subcontracting completely.
Exactly. And that integrated approach, it's a direct challenge to the traditional way of doing things, relying on specialized vendors. So the central question for us today is this. Does the sheer technical complexity of modern AI-enhanced facilities management necessitate a fully integrated, independent strategy that controls every single step? Or does the inherent technical depth that AI demands actually call for a more flexible, specialized, and modular service ecosystem?
And I'll be coming at this from the perspective that specialization is just non-negotiable for AI to succeed. The algorithmic needs of these systems, they really favor depth over breadth.
Deliver the unified control and, crucially, the velocity you need to translate that technical accuracy into measurable, system-wide efficiency gains. That's where the real strategic value is.
The strategic shift we're examining is profound. FM is moving from just fixing things when they break to actually driving proactive, data-intensive corporate strategy. Now, to capitalize on this, an organization has to have complete, cohesive control over its entire service chain, from the sensor all the way to the dispatch technician. Ires Group's drive for independence and eliminating subcontracting, this isn't about internal politics. It's a structural necessity. The material even quotes the CEO saying, "This path is crucial because it saves great deals of time in the servicing sector."
And when we talk about achieving these massive efficiencies, the documented 20% reduction in energy costs or that 30% drop in emergency repair costs from predictive maintenance, these gains are systematic. They are. You just can't achieve them reliably in fragmented systems. You need seamless, integrated functionality. This means your maintenance, your energy optimization, and your space utilization divisions, they all have to speak the same language, operate on the same data, and share accountability under one roof. It's the only way to deliver a truly consumer-oriented and consistent strategy.
That narrative of unified control and maximized efficiency is powerful, I'll give you that. But where I think it fundamentally breaks down is in its dismissal of the sheer technical diversity involved. These AI applications in facilities management, they're not just interchangeable parts, they are fundamentally distinct specializations. And when you try to conflate them all under one organizational umbrella, you introduce some pretty critical risks. To be effective, we need to move past the high-level concepts and, look at the actual data and algorithms. So think about the two main domains here. First, predictive maintenance. This needs AI to analyze very specific engineering data, vibration, acoustics, spectral signatures from, say, an HVAC compressor. This demands specialized algorithms, things like spectral analysis calibrated for physics-based failures. Okay, then second, you have space utilization. This analyzes completely different data streams, badge access logs, Wi-Fi heat maps, occupancy sensors. It's essentially a behavioral science problem. So while integration sounds simple, a single one-stop shop runs the severe risk of just generalizing its expertise across these deeply technical fields. My position is that successful AI implementation demands precise steps, choosing the best algorithm for that specific data, and making sure your staff are experts in interpreting those nuanced insights. You have to prioritize accuracy in each domain, and that almost always favors a specialized, best-of-breed vendor.
Okay, I appreciate the focus on technical purity, I really do. But let's ground this in what facility managers actually value: immediate, measurable return on investment. The material clearly shows that integration yields these benefits right away. The real strategic advantage here is the ability to efficiently convert an insight into a cost-saving action. So take automated work order management. It's the direct result of predictive anomaly detection. When the AI says an HVAC unit is degrading, the value isn't just in the prediction. The value is in the automated process that generates a work order, cuts down delays, and prioritizes the dispatch based on business impact. That seamless transition from sensor to algorithm to dispatch, it requires unified systems. If you introduce friction with different vendors, different APIs, different contracts at each stage, you just dilute the time savings that Black Iris promises. That unity is what allows them to act as a sophisticated, practical operator.
I'm just not convinced by that line of reasoning, and here's why. The entire practical ROI you're talking about hinges completely 100% on the accuracy of the prediction. We can automate work orders all day long, but if the foundational prediction is flawed, that automation is simply automating waste. If you want that 30% reduction in emergency repairs, the system has to reliably identify, quote, when an HVAC compressor is likely to fail within days. And to get that reliability, you need deep, specific algorithmic expertise. A specialized vendor focusing only on rotating machinery will have richer training data and more refined models than a generalist integrator who's trying to manage models for compressors and elevators and lighting and fire suppression systems all at once. If the generalist's models are shallow, the system produces unreliable data.
And that doesn't just eliminate cost savings. It floods the maintenance team with false positives. It wastes labor, it wastes parts, and worst of all, it erodes the staff's trust in the entire system. The efficiency you're championing becomes a liability.
The pet argument assumes that managing a modular ecosystem is somehow friction-free. You're proposing a solution where a facility manager has to integrate and manage what? A dozen different specialized vendors? One for HVAC, one for energy, one for access control. So who takes accountability when the predictive model is perfect, but the data standards between the predictive vendor and the work order system managed by a different specialist fail to communicate?
Right. Integration solves that fundamental accountability gap. When one entity owns the entire data flow, they are accountable for everything: the sensor, the algorithm, the dispatch. You can't achieve strategic asset management if your insights are coming from all these fragmented inputs that don't even speak the same data language. Integration reduces the total cost of just managing all the different vendors.
I absolutely acknowledge the management complexity. I do. But modern IT architecture gives us a countermodel for that. Microservices. Specialized microservices, individual AI models, can be deployed by best-of-breed vendors, and they communicate through standard APIs without needing some monolithic ownership. This modular approach, it actually provides organizational resilience. If one predictive vendor gets acquired or just fails to innovate, the facility manager can just swap them out for a better specialist without having to tear down the entire integrated system, which is exactly the risk you run when you commit to a single one-stop stack.
All right, let's shift the focus a bit to accountability and executing high-speed dynamic actions. I see why you emphasize flexibility, but let me reframe this around efficient action, especially with real-time systems. Eliminating subcontracting, a key part of the integrated strategy, ensures that the complex data pipeline is governed by unified corporate standards from end to end, and this is absolutely necessary for mission-critical things like dynamic energy control. That dynamic energy control is what's responsible for that 20% cost reduction in the material. This requires continuous, real-time data flow. Sensors collect temperature and occupancy data, and the control systems have to act on it immediately, dimming lights, adjusting HVAC fans, all adapting simultaneously based on occupancy, the weather, time of day. If you fragment this control loop with external subcontractors, that critical decision-making pipeline is vulnerable to friction, to conflicting standards, to accountability gaps every time data passes between two different companies. Unified control just eliminates that friction.
That's a compelling argument about data governance for dynamic systems, and I agree. Friction reduces speed. But have you considered the substantial economic trade-off here? Specifically, you're forcing the provider to internalize highly volatile and rapidly accelerating technological development costs across every single vertical.
I mean, AI technology is not mature. It's advancing incredibly quickly. Today's best-in-class vibration analysis sensor might be obsolete in 18 months. For the facility manager who's paying for this service, a modular approach lets them adopt the newest, best tech as it emerges, without being locked into the R&D cycle of one giant organization. If that one provider decides that, I don't know, elevator maintenance is a higher priority than energy optimization this quarter, all of their clients are just stuck. It creates systemic risk and technological stagnation.
I have to push back on that idea that internalizing R&D is purely a burden. Yes, there's an initial investment, but internalizing tech development lets the company build truly proprietary, superior advantages that integrate far deeper than any two separate companies talking through an API. This isn't just about convenience. It's about strategic differentiation. Black Ires Group is investing in a holistic system where the HVAC prediction model informs the space utilization layout, which then informs the energy profile. A subcontracting model, by definition, restricts that depth of integration. An independent operator can engineer a seamless connection between all these systems at the kernel level. Fragmentation prohibits that deep strategic integration that moves FM beyond just maintenance into true strategic asset management.
But the risk of obsolescence, for the consumer, it outweighs the benefits of proprietary control. Let's say the integrated provider has a 12-month development cycle. If a specialist focusing only on thermal imaging makes a breakthrough that could save the facility an immediate 5% in heating costs, the client is forced to wait. And then there's the expertise strain. When you hire an independent generalist, you're getting an employee who has to be competent in electrical engineering, data science, mechanical failure analysis, and behavioral economics, a jack of all trades. A modular specialist gives you focused mastery in one domain. Mastery shouldn't be sacrificed for organizational simplicity.
We keep circling back to speed, and rightly so, because speed in deployment is a crucial competitive differentiator here. The source material emphasizes Black Iris Group's immense speed, citing major changes in infrastructure, division expansions, and increased employee numbers as proof of their positive motion. This momentum suggests that vertical integration is really the only path to quickly achieve scale and breadth at the same time. By controlling the infrastructure build-out end-to-end, they can ensure consistency and rapid deployment of unified systems across tons of sites. And we have to remember the larger corporate strategy here. They see facilities management as deeply adjacent to corporate real estate management. They want to be the one-stop solution for maximizing corporate assets, which requires that kind of speed and scale. Only vertical integration can guarantee that.
I come at the concept of speed from a completely different angle. While that organizational velocity is impressive, the true bottleneck for AI adoption, it often lies not with the service provider's internal structure, but with the client's own existing infrastructure and readiness. The practical steps outlined for implementing AI, assessing current data infrastructure, starting small with pilot projects, they highlight this dependency. The real hurdle is often the precise fit of the AI tool within the client's unique environment. A specialized entity focused solely on perfecting one high-value area, say using existing occupancy sensors to reconfigure office layouts, can deploy that specific solution and deliver a measurable ROI much faster than waiting for the broader, integrated organization to complete its full infrastructure build-out across every single division. Focused deployment speed achieved through specialization lets clients get targeted benefits sooner.
Small. If the client's ambition is to move to full strategic asset management, which means understanding how a faulty HVAC unit affects occupant satisfaction, which then impacts lease renewal rates, they need a unified data lake across all systems. A specialized approach means the client or some other third party has to constantly build and manage the bridges between all these disparate systems. This just introduces technical debt and complexity at the client level, severely limiting the ability to analyze truly holistic data. Integration ensures that data is captured, standardized, and immediately available for strategic planning, making the transition from a pilot project to full strategic deployment inherently simpler and faster in the long run.
And that is a crucial distinction, the data lake. I agree, holistic data analysis is the ultimate goal. But specialization is not synonymous with data fragmentation. Specialized solutions can and should be engineered to feed data into a unified platform, the data lake, using standard APIs. The question isn't whether the data is unified, but who provides the specialized insight that feeds that lake.
Choosing best-of-breed specialists gives you the highest quality, most accurate inputs for that unified strategy. And that maximizes the probability that the analysis you get from your strategic data lake is actually actionable and reliable, rather than just being broad.
Ultimately, my position rests on the fact that the future of facilities management is proactive, predictive, and fundamentally driven by holistic data. The only way to harness the full promised benefits, reduce downtime, targeted repairs, and genuinely strategic planning based on unified data streams is through the kind of integrated, independent, one-stop solution that Black Ires Group champions. This structure guarantees accountability, it maximizes deployment speed, and it ensures optimal resource use. Fragmentation just introduces risk and delays the critical move to strategic asset management. Control and unified strategy are paramount.
And while that integrated model undoubtedly offers organizational simplicity and the convenience of a single point of contact, the sheer depth and diversity of AI technologies here, from the physics of predictive maintenance to the human analytics of space utilization, they demand a focused, specialized approach. Relying entirely on a generalist integrator risks compromising the technical precision you need to achieve those maximum advertised benefits, especially when you're dealing with complex algorithmic refinement and the constant need for rapid technological adoption. The precision of the tool has to outweigh the convenience of the provider. Otherwise, the whole ROI just evaporates.
The discussion today really highlights the core strategic tension facing facilities managers, the need to quickly and efficiently deploy very complex systems across wide portfolios.
Indeed. It forces them to weigh whether to prioritize the convenience, speed, and governance offered by a unified provider or the technical depth, innovation agility, and specialized accuracy you can get from modular, best-of-breed solutions.
Both paths offer significant, compelling benefits in efficiency and cost reduction, but the optimal choice really depends on whether an organization places greater value on systemic control and strategic velocity or on technical precision and technological flexibility.
A fascinating strategic choice, and one that facility managers are wrestling with every day as they navigate this technological transformation. Thank you for joining us on The Debate.